And I feel like a lot of the friction in one's life, and I'm speaking for myself here, but I think it applies to a lot of people, is that unconscious blaming, or that unconscious, like, that person did something to me and they ought to fix it. And I'm gonna withhold certain emotions or feelings or experiences from them, so they perk up and they fix it, you know? And I think if you really look at it, it's like that happens a lot with a lot of people. That's where resentment really comes from, you know? And again, it's also like resentment's a defense mechanism, in my opinion. Like, it's a defense of like, hey, I won't stand for this. So it's a healthy emotion in the sense that, like, I'm not okay with this, and there's resentment there, and I'm okay with it being there, which is a conscious acknowledgement of it. But I think also at the same time, if you look deep in that resentment, there are strings of this person needs to do something for me to be okay. So it's like, where are you not taking radical responsibility?
Yeah. It reminded me when you're talking about like the unconscious, it reminded me of Socrates, because his famous dictum, his famous quote was, an unexamined life is not worth living. So he was all about,
so good.
Yeah. I mean, he was all about just introspective, like, man, what are my motivations here? Why am I doing this? How much am I blaming other people for things? Kind of as you're hinting at. And reading Socrates, I mean, highly recommend his writings.
He's
incredible. Yeah, he's top G. Great guy. But
the original top G.
Yeah, no, really, like he's basically the first. So but yeah, that quote stood out to me, and it's in that same line of thinking, like, you know, questioning your motivations, and then resentment too. It's a big box. So quite a big box, that one. But one thing that it does is, if you can learn to pay attention to when you're getting resentful, it's normally an indication that something needs to be done. So, because resentment, normally a conversation needs to be had, or you need to say something, or you need to do something, because resentment can grow and then it can turn into something not good. So like using it as a signal for change, or using it as a signal for like, okay, maybe I need to update something here. That's kind of how I look at it. Because if you allow it to fester, it can get pretty dark. So I don't know, that's just my 2 cents, but yeah.
Yeah,
it's like the go
ahead.
Oh, yours.
The power of like remote slap. Yeah, like the tiny little lizard will soon turn into the giant dragon. More archetypal Petersonian language, but yeah, it's like
Petersonian.
If you don't slice it at the head right away, it's gonna grow. And so I totally agree. And honestly, like the times in my life where I feel resentful at someone, like I almost don't trust myself fully. Like, I'm trying to imagine, like, if I'm really resentful at someone, it's like, if an emergency were to occur, I almost don't fully trust myself. I'm not like, I don't know, my words and actions might not align in an emergency. Like, I don't know, I might do something that I regret because I have all this pent up emotion and like, I don't want to explode. And so like, yeah, the capacity for me to do something horrible, I'm aware of, but when I'm really resentful, like I notice that could be way, way worse. And so I'm not always the best at like flushing out resentment, but I guess living with you, Nate, it's like we've had like a ton of experience living with each other and kind of just explaining like, yo, you did this wrong, or I feel annoyed at this, or, you know, it's occasional when we have to, but I think I've learned that just living with you for like 5 years, 4 years, you know.
Yeah. And we've had this
helpful.
Yeah, we've had this rule, which has been very useful, and it was kind of a implicit rule before it was explicit. But I remember when we moved into college together, I kind of said it explicitly. And it was basically like, we're going to always tell each other the truth, like even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's like, man, I don't want to hear this right now. We're going to do that to the best of our ability. We're going to try and do that.
Yeah,
and you know, we're going to fail, of course, and there's going to be times where it's like, you know, well, I don't always know what the truth is. Like, man, I have all these emotions. I don't know what this is. But I remember one time, just for comical sake, I remember I was trying to go to sleep. I was like, man, I just can't sleep. And I remember coming upstairs and being like, all right, look, dog, I think I'm mad at you for something.
Oh yeah.
And we hashed it out, and, you know, I said, yeah, sorry, I'm stupid. And I think you said, yeah, sorry, I'm an idiot. And then we, you know, went our merry ways. But, you know, it's so huge. And, you know, in any relationship, whether it's romantic or just personal, or, you know, roommate, whatever, that communication factor and that rule of like, we're going to tell the truth. I mean, man, dude, that served me well.